Hello, this is Jordan. This video is being recorded on the evening of Friday, February 16th, 2024. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the weekly recap. In this video, going to do a quick recap of gold, silver, and the miners. And the story of this week was the precious metal sector and those specific markets. They all held support and rebounded. Let's get into the video. So starting off here, weekly candle chart, gold at the top, silver at the bottom. And here you can see this week's action. A bullish hammer for gold. I mean, it's a good candle, but we probably want to see the hammer start lower. I would have preferred to see gold. I prefer to see the hammer lower in this area. But I mean, I'm getting picky. But for now, it did hold above 2,000. But for this to be a real bullish hammer, we would need to see gold make a weekly close next week above right here. So above, call it 250. I mean, we'd like to see a weekly close in that area in the next week or two to solidify this holding of support. If not, then at some point over the next month, you could get another test of 2,000 and maybe even a break below it. We'll see. Now, one very positive thing is the strong candle in silver. This is a nice bullish candle. It engulfed 1, 2, 3, 4. So engulfed the previous 4 weeks. Really solid bounce here above or right at 22, I should say. I mean, it did test 22. I mean, it opened well above 22, tested 22. Strong close at the high of the week, right at the equivalent to the 200-day moving average. So, some other people have told me, and I have been saying, silver can be a tell for the sector. I mean, one sign of that is, remember that really strong week we had end of November. Then when you had the reversal in gold, I mean, that was a nasty black candle in gold, but this one was really nasty in silver. And so, what happened? Well, the market, it hasn't broken out a couple months after that. So, but on the other hand, while by itself, I don't think this is that great of a bullish hammer for gold, this is a strong bullish candle for silver. We'll see if it sustains itself. But for here and now, I mean, it's good that gold and silver rallied at support. I mean, the worst thing would be after the next couple of days or next week or two, you get a nasty bearish candle coming. So that's the thing to look out for over the next week or two. Okay, so before getting into the miners, I want to talk about the gold COT. So here we have open interest. Here we have the net speculative position divided by open interest. And then here are my annotations. I wrote in the net speculative position nominally. So it's 153 now, 153,000 contracts divided by 420,000. That's how you get your 36% of open interest. I think this is kind of sneaky bullish. Now, this data is as of Tuesday. I think the gold price, probably around the same level. I should have checked it. But, gold closed the week at 2024. So it's probably around, the close on Tuesday was probably around the same level. Came down to 153,000 contracts. A week or two ago, we were like at 170, 180. So it's good that a lot of speculation came out of the gold market and gold was able to hold above 2,000. So that's a good sign. And, looking at, I like to look at the percentage of open interest. To me, that's more important. These vertical lines show when all these breakout moves really began. What was the net spec position? 31, 20, 49, 13, 20. So it's at 36%. I was hoping here that 21%, that would be the start. But in my view, it hasn't. It's going to require more time. Maybe the next vertical line. Who knows? I hope it's at some point in the next few months. But so looking at the percentages, 36 is not that bad, but it probably needs to come down some more. And 153K by itself, it's pretty good. It's pretty encouraging. Given where we were, already 4 years ago, you could see the net spec position was a lot higher. 222,000 9 months ago. So it was 90,000 at the last low, 153,000. So if we continue to consolidate for a few months, I think at some point that could come down. I would love to see that come down to 100,000 or so. How does that compare? Well, it was 110,000 before the last huge move. 2005, I mean, this was over the next 6 years, gold went up, I think, 4.6x. I have to look. So that was 150,000 at that point. So not a huge difference. So we'll see. But that's I really only needed to say the one thing, which is that recently the gold price hasn't broken down very recently, but a lot of speculation came out of the market. So we'll see what happens. I do think if gold were to go below 2,000, that scenario where it bottoms at 1,900, this would be pretty low. And if it were to bottom at 1,900, that would be above this right there in the low 1,800s. So consolidation is getting mature, but it was good to see that improvement in the COT and open interest, of course. I think I up a little bit in the last week, but a week ago, I think I mentioned this is at a 4 or 5 year low. Even if we go back, let's just go back the last 8 years, it's probably, I would get, 96th, 97th percentile in terms of how low it is, fairly close to the lowest levels in the last 8 years. So that's another good sign. So there you go. Now, moving on, let's talk about the miners. Same story with gold and silver. I mean, you had a rebound at support. These horizontal lines show where the support is. Silge down here, major support here. So it should probably rally. I mean, if we get a sustained rally, you could even potentially rally up to the 200-day moving averages. I did put out a flash update on, I think it was Tuesday night for subscribers. We did get some blowouts in the breadth indicators. They were below 10%. You did have spikes and new highs in new lows in GDX and GDXJ. So those are always a signal of a short-term bottom. So we did get the short-term bottom. Let's see how far it goes. Really hope it doesn't fizzle out in the next week or two. That's where we are. That's the story of the week. I mean, long video, but the one thing to remember, gold, silver, and the gold stocks, they held at these support levels. They rallied to close the week. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. Talk to you guys again in the next week.